Yeah. Is that something you're doing? Yes. What did you get for me? Where did you get it? So, what you? I'm gonna pause the camera. People watching online get really mad at me for a second. So. Oh, whoops.
It was fun looking at your nose.
We got a lot of YouTube out there. What to do? I think that's still working. Let's see if I can change the view. Dear God. Does it think you'll do this hard? Okay. I'm just gonna hope this works now. All right. Hopefully people can see that. We're watching online. we're good.
Good afternoon. Welcome to this celebration of life for Lee McLellan. From when we were organizing this for Lee, we were told he would not want something formal or overly religious. So what we would like to invite folks to do is to share their experiences with Lee and their good times, their laughs, and what you will remember the most about your time with Lee and working with him. But I'd like to invite Jen, one of our chaplains, to come and open with a prayer.
In the quiet moments, we'll find a smile, remembering the times that made life worthwhile. For the co-workers we've lost, the laughter we've shared, in the moments of joy when you truly cared. We'll share the tales, the jokes, the smiles, the memories of laughter. We'll fondly partake. Through the tears and the sorrow, we'll find a way to cherish the humor that once brightened our day. A smile in silence, a memory so dear, a tribute to the mentor we once held near. In the midst of our grief, let laughter ring, for the joy you brought forever will cling. And I'd like to just start off by that's Lee. Yes, for sure. But I just wanted to start off with a memory from Deanna that she would have loved to share today, but her little great-granddaughter was ill and she had to go home to care for her when she got off her shift today. And she said every morning early, Lee would go to the calf and would greet her, and always with a smile or a joke, or if she was struggling with anything putting together, he would always offer to help. And there's one young lady, and I haven't met her, I hope she's here today, but when she started here, Lee made her feel very much at home. And she talked to Deanna today, and Deanna said, this young lady's looking for you, and I'm saying, well, who is she? Deanna says, I don't know. And I said, so I don't know, maybe she'll be here today. But in any event, she really cherished Lee, and this hit her very hard. And also for us, for years it was the big joke, we'd need our stat cards. And so Terry and I would start years ago going down with a basket, sort of begging, you know, because Lee's doing the printing for everybody in every place. And sooner or later, they'd always arrive. But Lee always had that twinkle. I'd see him so many mornings out by marketing and those blue eyes twinkling, and he always had some kind of little joke or something to share. So anyway, we just invite whoever and all to please come up and share your memories of Lee.
I'll share. I hope I have a job tomorrow.
Oh.
The hallways are oddly quiet. Everybody knows Lee had this big personality, but I never thought I would miss the day of the knock on the door with some, you know, the next big catastrophe story that typically ended with Lee being hurt somehow or some way or shape. And a funny story to do. Or the next picture of his new puppies. Pam, I always said your puppy was the cute one, and he hated it, but she is. I really appreciated what you put in the email, actually, when you said to come with work-appropriate Lee stories. 20 years I searched. And, you know, that was Lee, though. I mean, we've all been behind him in the hallway, walking behind him when he would stop, turn halfway and say, I know you're looking at my assets, right? Or you go down to the print shop and I would open up the door and I would say, hey, Lee, I need a favor. And I learned not to say that because he would quickly rattle off the favors that he wanted. You know? He designed my 49th birthday cake. I can't talk about it, work appropriate, but he did an amazing job. He was so giving and helped with anything. He had this big personality that filled our hallways, but he was deathly afraid of squirrels. I just could never put the two together. It was just hysterical. But at the end of the day, I'm just going to miss my friend.
I'll piggyback off the end of that. So I had the opportunity to play on his fear of squirrels, and I was, with a lot of coaxing and begging, was asked to dress up as a live squirrel and jump out at Lee when he was in his print shop, and that went over really well. We all enjoyed it except for Lee. But most of all, the only thing I could write on Facebook was, aside from having inappropriate comments, is his laugh. His laugh. I got the opportunity to see him on Monday as he was driving away after his last appointment here. And for me, the gift was he was driving away, and that was the last thing I heard because he made a funny joke. And I get to have that as my last thing that I heard from him. So it's very contagious, and I will echo. I will miss having him down here on the ground floor, for sure.
All right. I'm not good in front of people, but I've known Lee since I was 17. He lived in Westford. I lived in Chelmsford, and our groups just kind of hung out here and there. So when I came to St. Joe's, I was very surprised to see him again. Great guy. We used to, in the beginning, joke about the single life until he met Pam. We would talk about our dates and the horrid. But I was really, really happy to see him the past 5 years, the smile that you gave him. It was really nice to see on Facebook. He deserved it. He did tell me the joke with Lee and I would be, Tracy, do you have Aquanet? And it was because one of the times when we met, we had a bonfire, the groups of friends, and nobody could light the fire. And I said, oh, my brothers taught me this. I said, if you take Aquanet and a lighter, it's like a torch. So that would be the joke in the hallway with us is, Tracy, you have Aquanet today? But I will really miss him. Definitely. He was a great guy, and I'll miss his stories, and I'll miss nagging him for my booklets.
I will have to admit something. So when I was visiting Lee during COVID, happened to notice that he had a stack of magazines on the side. So I, whose magazines are those? And he said, well, he goes, we're not delivering any of those magazines. He goes, so if you want some, you can take them. So I apologize for anybody's magazines that didn't get them in their offices. But I would read them, and then I would bring them back, and then I would get new ones, and I would bring them back. So just in case anybody else needed to read them and knew the same thing as I knew, that you could go down there and get some magazines. He was nice enough to let me have them. He was always a good guy, and like you said, always laughing, smiling, always, was always positive every time I seen him. And, joked around about the squirrels. I knew about those squirrels too, because I had a problem in my yard with the squirrels. And yeah, he didn't like it. But he was a good guy. And we'll miss him.
My story is I work in endoscopy, and in the morning he would come through and just stalk
stock every morning, so I always got there super early and he was always there, so we made it, he would talk about his hot peppers and how he couldn't have anything hot enough, and he brought me in a really ghost pepper that he'd grown once. But it became a joke, like, who could scare each other. So, like, if I was there before he got there, I'd pop out of a bay or something, scare him pretty good. And then he's gotten me quite a few times. And it was just a really fun morning. I always look forward to seeing him, so I do miss him as well.
I just truly miss the conversations we used to have every morning, especially when he came in early, and just his infectious laugh. It just got to you, you know, when he'd come out with some wisecrack or something. You're like, "There's Lee." You didn't even have to see him; you could hear him all the way down the hallway. So that's what I miss.
And you could be having the worst day ever, and he always would make you laugh. Yeah.
So unfortunately, I can't share an appropriate story. The jokes we shared together, I can't say in this group. But one thing I will admit, proud or not proud, is that he tends to tell people that I was the first girl that he worked with that made him blush. I'm really gonna miss his jokes.
I dealt with Lee 15 minutes change shift every Monday morning. Those 15 minutes were full. So it's true, he did have tolerance for hot peppers. Right around Christmas time, at one point, there was a ghost pepper chip challenge. Could not wait to work. He ate all of them in front of me. He smiled and said, "That's all you got." About 2 weeks later, he told me he drank milk before that.
Oh.
But it was my turn to do the chip challenge. I started to cry. It's like, "Come on, suck it up." But 2 weeks later, I found out. Yeah, had the comedic timing down pat. You just couldn't walk away with it.
This morning I noticed, I was in early for work yesterday. I was walking down the floor, I put stuff with somebody else. And it's like almost back with a smile. Just greetings, however it was. One of the things we shared was we had a common interest of fishing. And when Lee found out this year, the only deer I got to see was hit with my wife's car. He liked to remind me that on the other piece. Something that we shared. It was so awesome.
So I can what that says this morning implement this door. I'm always with something up to the part. It just been one.
So I'll piggyback on your little cart. So whenever I saw that cart anywhere, I always told Lee that I was going to move it on him. Because he would just leave it in the hallway. And every time I saw it, I would say, Lee, you're going to come out of this office. It's just not going to be there. And I only got to move it once, but I only moved it a little bit. And then he found me after and yelled at me. He knew it was exactly me that moved it because I would tell him all the time that I would move it. But also, I would go down with anything from our mission department and I would say, hey, we need something from Lee. And I would bring it as like a big bundle, and I'd walk in and be like, "Hey," he's like, "What do you need now?" Would always be my answer, but then with a smiling, happy, chipper way, he would, do as much as he could for us. He was always so happy to help make sure it looked right, even though we probably printed it wrong. And he would tell me that it didn't line up and that I can't cut it right. And next time, just let me do it for you. But, definitely his laugh and his fun stories. And also he helped Project Search so much with like the mail and how, they would be able to read somebody's handwriting and he was always there to help them too. So, it's the big shoes that are going to be missed, around here.
I'm trying to figure out how he got through all his deliveries every day. Because he would come in and I would hear him from my office, and we would sit down and talk to the girls in our office. And it'd go about 10, 15 minutes, and finally I'd get up and I'd go, Lee, don't you have something to do besides bother these girls, you know? But I'll miss hearing him.
I will echo the statements about Lee being super inappropriate all the time. I would say to him, I was like, dude, how have you not been fired yet? To which I'd say, well, if you're not fired, I'll never get fired. But his answer was, he goes, Tim, nobody knows what I do or how I do it. He's like, they can't get rid of me. This place will go down in flames. So we're a little nervous right now. But he wasn't wrong either, because Robin and I and her team have been trying to figure out how he did things. And people are emailing us, say, well, Lee he glued things together for us and he made these packets. And I'm like, yeah, that's done. Like, that's never gonna. Like, the guy knew how to create great job security because he was a one-man show, and it was like. So I really miss him because I am now helping with the printing, and that's a terrible, terrible job. But also, obviously, just an amazing guy. I've only been here for 5 years, and he was. Besides being inappropriate, he was funny. He was just engaging to everybody. He says hi to everybody. And those people are few and far between. So we will miss him for sure. Who's next? You're on the camera.
I heard all wonderful things about his coworkers all the time and how much he appreciated you guys and enjoyed coming to work and enjoyed the camaraderie. He enjoyed his stories that I've heard a lot that were definitely not appropriate. He would tell people that he and I were, I was a female version, but I would let him know that I am not inappropriate like that. I am, usually politically correct, and I'm not so fresh. But he truly enjoyed coming here, and he truly enjoyed his coworkers. And it's hard because we haven't had this moment like without him and whatnot. So I appreciate all of you coming here because it makes my heart feel good. So thank you.
One thing about Lee was, and I think this really speaks to him, is he was born on Halloween and his favorite holiday was April Fool's.
And wasn't afraid of squirrels. He just hated them.
And I would throw up peanuts just to kind of annoy him. I like to push the envelope a little bit, and he let me do it. So, I like all things living. So, and that's why I like to plant them, especially too, because a lot of things away they would eat.
Anybody else? Sam?
I would just say that I miss him, and we all have really tough days down here, and he used to just go, "Hey, Doc," and we'd go zipping around the corner and run into each other again, and then on occasion he would tell an inappropriate joke to me too. And he would just start laughing so much I'd be laughing at the joke, but it makes a difference. And, I'll miss that.
And I'll just say that I kind of feel like I missed out on all the inappropriate jokes. Which kind of makes me wonder, am I desensitized to inappropriate jokes? I don't really know. But I will say that we used to, seeing him all the time buzzing around the hallways, and there was always I think we collided like 9 out of 10 times. I'd be whipping around, he'd be whipping around. I was like, oh, hey. But always with a smile, always with a laugh, and the cart just in the way always cracks me up. And I certainly will miss him, and I know that he is such a big contributor to this organization. But just seeing everyone show up today is true. We will miss him for sure. And again, maybe I got to hang out with Tim more to appreciate the inappropriate jokes.
Probably a bad idea.
You say them too.
Oh, maybe.
yeah. Who will I not get fired by?
At the colon upstairs. And it was a walk through. And my husband just had this huge surgery, so I thought it'd be cool if he came and my kid came. Lee texted me and said, how's the colon? Everything you thought it would be? And I was like, he's like, I couldn't even get past the polyps. It would be out. I thought it was going to be a long thing. And he was like, did you expect a bouncy house?
For those who haven't seen, there's a giant colon sometimes in the atrium. Anybody else? For the viewing public. Quite a few people online too. There's like 40 or 50 people watching. So.
Before we part ways, if we could all just take a moment of silence for Lee and remember the good times we had with him.
There is no night without a dawning, no winter without a spring. And beyond the dark horizon, our hearts will once more sing. For those who leave us for a while have only gone away out of a restless, careworn world into a brighter day. That's what we hope with Lee.
We now have a special presentation from Mike Rennie. All right, thank you everyone for coming, and have a nice rest of your day. Sorry, because I told her before. Storage room. Yeah. Well, it worked out.
Wait, did you say that she said?
Yeah, I said to her, so this is unlucky for the next day. So, and then I sent her like Sally was sending me, she was in contact with him. So she had sent me all their text, all their cell phone numbers. And I was texting them all day with, hey, here's something to watch. So it looks like they got on, I hope they got on. But even if they didn't, the recording is, the live stream is actually recorded directly on YouTube, so they can watch that. Okay, are you going to sleep or are you
Staying. I'm just gonna be here. Everybody's in the until 5, and we're gonna have to set up. Is that okay? Yeah.
I gotta go around. So,